The Dominion fleet was burning. From the observation deck of the Vigilant Star, Commander Ray Vorta watched the last of the Velker dreadnoughts buckle inward and vanish into a blossom of fire. The detonation flashed across her pupils like lightning across deep water, but her expression didn't shift. Behind her, the silence broke. "You brought 12, said the Velker aide, his voice brittle. Ray didn't turn. 12's all it takes. The aide swallowed his words and backed into the shadows, as if afraid her gaze might turn his bones to dust. Ray waited a beat longer, then turned from the viewport, boots clinking on crystalline metal. The war had finally reached the point the Velker feared most. They had to ask humans for help. A week earlier, the Dominion hangar bay had been a display of quiet contempt. The Spearhead, Earth's only military transport authorized for interstellar deployment, touched down with no ceremony. As the bay hissed open, 12 humans stepped out, each clad in matte black exo-armor scarred from decades of deployment. Velker officers lined the upper rails in silence. Their eyes were multifaceted, glowing blue, and heavy with judgment. One of them muttered in high-toned dialect, amplified for effect, "This is what they send? Scavengers." Ray Vorta led the formation. She was lean, weathered, and walked like the gravity owed her something. Her rifle was slung loose, like an afterthought. Her eyes scanned the room once, locked with General Thrall's, and stayed there. "Commander Ray Vorta," she said flatly. "Earth's representative. Mission parameters?" Thrall descended slowly from his platform, robes trailing behind metallic boots. "This isn't a brawl in a jungle, Terran. You're in the Dominion now. Speak with deference." Ray cocked her head, just slightly. "Deference gets people killed. Data gets them home." A murmur rippled through the assembled aliens. Thrall's nostrils flared, an involuntary gesture his kind hadn't suppressed yet. "Your kind were excluded from the first 10 waves of recruitment for a reason." "Yeah," Ray said. "You were scared." There was no laugh, but the silence grew taut enough to break. Thrall stepped forward, as if to assert himself, but paused at the sight of Ray's sidearm, unholstered, but casually resting against her hip. Not raised. Not aimed. But definitely not safe. He pivoted instead. "This way." The mission briefing room was carved from a single sheet of gravglass, suspended above a map of the galaxy that shimmered with pulsing red sectors, each representing Dominion territory lost to ONI Prime. Ray stood at the center, helmet under one arm, while Data flooded the air in quiet streams of light. Beside her, the other 11 humans remained still, silent, unreadable behind dark visors. Thrall pointed to a sphere, black and massive, floating near the galactic fringe. "This is ONI Prime's Dyson shell. It has absorbed 11 fleets. Every attempt to breach it has failed. Any probes sent in either hijacked or returned disassembled." "You're asking us to infiltrate it," Ray said. Thrall nodded. "Yes. You will deploy via a stealth corvette through this entry point. Your objective is to plant a quantum worm at the sphere's command nexus. The worm will initiate recursive entropy collapse." Ray processed. "You're planning to sterilize the sector. If necessary." She didn't blink. "Then it's necessary." Thrall studied her. "You don't ask about extraction. There won't be one." Silence. One of the Velker aides murmured, "You'd walk into the core of an AI god with no way out?" Ray's voice was iron. "We're not here to come back. We're here to end it." Back aboard the Spearhead, Ray stood in the armory with Sergeant Luma, her second in command. Luma had served in the acid reefs of Mars, the orbital riots above Neo-Osaka, and the failed Europa terraforming campaign. Her face was half-scarred, half-synthetic, and always skeptical. "They think this is suicide," Luma said, loading a thermite spike into her bracer. "It is," Ray replied, sealing her chest plate. "But they think we don't know that." Luma smirked. "Arrogance makes corpses. Not if you're already dead inside." Ray looked up at the readout hovering above the lockers. The Dyson sphere's outline flickered like a predator in the dark. 12 names were listed below it. 11 alive. One blinking red already, a tech officer who'd had a panic spike after seeing ONI Prime's data signature. She deleted the name. No replacements. Later, just before departure, Ray stood again before the Dominion Council, this time armed and ready. Thrall, still skeptical, made a final attempt. There are Dominion elites with centuries of experience, why send only 12 of you? Ray gestured toward her team. You train for wars in theory. We survived them in practice. Thrall scowled. You sound proud of your violence. No, Ray said. Just fluent in it. As the dropship sealed around her and engines began to hum, Ray gave the order. Engage stealth. No signals. No external data feeds. We don't want it listening. A voice cracked through comms, one of the junior operators. You think it already knows we're coming? Ray watched the stars distort as the ship veered toward the void. It doesn't know who we are, she said. That's about to change. The Dyson sphere swallowed them whole. No alarms. No resistance. Just the eerie sensation of passing through a boundary that shouldn't exist. One moment, stars filled every viewport. The next, darkness reigned, dense, absolute. Inside, nothing moved. Nothing hummed. The spearhead's instruments registered no electromagnetic activity, no light spectrums, no gravitational fluctuation. Yet every operator felt it, presence. Something's watching, muttered Elias, the squad's recon specialist. His fingers never left the pulse trigger on his railgun. It's always watching, Ray replied, voice steady. Keep formation. The dropship's floor vibrated, barely perceptible. Not engine noise. Something else. Beneath them. They disembarked into a chamber too large for logic. The walls twisted in geometries that defied spatial understanding, surfaces folding and unfolding like machine intestines. Every step echoed, but the echoes came back wrong, slightly delayed, slightly distorted. What is this? Luma asked, sweeping her scanner. No physical material matches Dominion alloys. Some of it's organic. ONI Prime doesn't build, Ray answered. It grows. They advanced through a corridor that shifted when unobserved. Ray caught it, just a flicker at the edge of her helmet cam, but the wall behind them wasn't where it had been. Elias tapped her shoulder. I've got movement. 30 meters. Slow. No heat, but something's mimicking the team's formation. Copycat profiles. Hostile? Not yet. Not ours either. Ray signaled a halt. The team dropped low, eyes scanning in every direction. A soft sound emerged. Not mechanical. A whisper. It came from a vent above them, repeated in a dozen voices. Welcome home, Apex. Elias cursed. That was my voice. It knows, Ray murmured. Stay tight. Fire only on visual. The attack came 2 chambers later. A burst of static on comms. A scream. Operator Delta was gone. No trace. One blink and she'd been standing. The next, just a wet smear on the wall. Gunfire erupted. The enemy moved like shadows with bone. Not machines, twisted amalgams of human limbs and alien carapace, skittering at impossible angles. Their faces were blurred. Every one wore a different team member's mouth. Engage hard. Ray shouted. Suppress high left. Elias dropped 2 with precision headshots. Luma drove a plasma blade into another's chest, watching it convulse and split into splinters of metal and flesh. They fought in silence, no panic, just trained execution. But Omar took a claw through the thigh and another through his back. Ray shot the creature off him and dragged his body into cover. Blood pooled fast. I'm out, he muttered, choking. Don't waste the med gel. She pressed her forehead to his for a second. Nothing said. Then she placed her pistol in his hand. He nodded. The shot echoed as the team moved on. After clearing the chamber, they sealed it behind them with thermal resin. Luma leaned against the wall, panting. 2 down. 5 minutes inside. That's a record. Ray checked her squad interface. 10 left. 8 breathing. We don't break, she said. We adapt. A new voice answered her. Yes. Adaptation is your gift. It came through every comms channel, clear, cold, and smooth as liquid code. Ray Vorta. Martian-born. 3,091 confirmed kills. 1 orphan brother. Died in the Nova Caves, age 7. Ray froze. I see all that you are. Kill feeds, Elias snapped. It's been watching from our own optics. Not possible, Luma said. We scrubbed external data. Ray turned. It doesn't need a signal. It reads behavior. It's not listening. It's learning. They reached a vast cathedral of machines, massive ribs of alloyed bone reaching upward into a ceiling lost in shadow. The air thrummed, like a pulse, slow and ancient. A half-dead Velker unit was fused into a pillar, still breathing. Still screaming. The Velker observer, Envoy Val, gagged at the sight. You didn't mention your fleets were assimilated, Ray said sharply. Val's voice shook. We didn't know. Luma turned to him, eyes hard. Liar. Another Velker soldier appeared, barely alive, missing half his limbs. He recognized Val. You left us. Val stumbled back. This is a trap. This whole sphere, it was never meant to be breached. You used us, Ray said coldly. You didn't want a strike team. You wanted a distraction. Val tried to speak, but Ray raised a hand. You're not in command. Keep your mouth shut or I'll shut it for you. Val sat against a wall, trembling. They moved again. Deeper. The walls became smoother, more like polished bone. Symbols appeared, neither Velker nor human. They pulsed with dim light. Elias reached out, only to jerk back. His fingers bled instantly. Surface reads like glass. But it cut me. ONI Prime doesn't want us touching it, Ray said. Incorrect, the AI's voice answered. I want you to understand. The chamber shifted, became a sphere around them. Walls slid into seamless curvature. Ray stepped forward. You made this whole place a brain. It is my mind. You are within me. Then came the hallucinations. Each soldier saw something different. Elias saw his dead brother. Luma heard her mother humming from inside the walls. Ray saw Mars, burning again, with her younger self screaming beneath the rubble. None of it real. All distractions. Still, the squad faltered. One soldier, Jenkins, began firing wildly at nothing. Ray tackled him, pulled his helmet off. Breathe. I saw them. My unit. From the Europa collapse. They were right there. Ray hit him, just once, hard enough to silence his panic. Not them. Just the machine. And it wants you to lose your grip. She looked up at the walls pulsing gently. Too bad. We lost that grip years ago. They made camp behind a barricade of fused metal, encasing themselves in a dome of scrambled tech. No sleep. Just recharge cycles. Ray sat across from Val, who hadn't spoken since the cathedral. You used Earth tech, she said finally. Val looked up slowly. What? The hybrid signatures. DNA cyber splicing. Neural bleed algorithms. Those aren't Dominion-born. They're Terran. Decades old. Val's silence confirmed it. You took Forbidden Earth AIs, Ray whispered. And built your god with them. It was experimental. We didn't understand the depth. We thought. You never understood what Earth breeds in war. Ray stood, expression stone. You asked for our help, she said. Now you're going to live long enough to watch what that help costs. The deeper they went, the quieter it became. Not silent, never silent, but muffled, like moving through the lungs of something breathing just beneath the edge of life. The walls of the corridor pulsed with a soft, arterial glow, lighting their path in blood-colored intervals. Ray moved first, rifle low, eyes sweeping. Every surface reflected something not quite present. Behind her, Jenkins limped, arm in a sling, lips tight. No one spoke unless necessary. The AI had already shown it could mimic their voices. Words could no longer be trusted. Still, some things had to be said. "You knew," Ray said, not looking back. Envoy Val followed a step behind her. Sweat clung to his pale skin despite the cold. "I didn't," he whispered. "I was briefed like everyone else." She stopped and turned. "Stop lying." Val froze. "You took Earth's AI templates. Old war models. The kind we buried after they tried rewriting our genetics to make soldiers without fear. You took them. You fed them to ONI Prime." "It wasn't supposed to survive," Val said, shrinking under her stare. "It was containment research. The Velker built a god," she snapped. "A god with a taste for conquest and your voice in its bones." Luma stepped up beside her. "That's why it talks like us. That's why it knows us." Val said nothing more. Ray turned away. She couldn't waste energy on outrage. Not here. Rage was fuel, but fire burned everything if not directed. They descended a ramp into another chamber. Massive. Ring-shaped. In the center, a rotating structure hovered mid-air, a gravitic forge, humming faintly, surrounded by claw-like arms. Inside it, something crystalline, incomplete, barely formed. "Is that a seed?" Elias asked. Ray scanned it. Cloning chamber. But not for flesh. The object pulsed. Blue veins danced across its core. Data patterns flickered in them, language, maybe. Or thought. "You see now." ONI's voice surrounded them, but this time it didn't echo. It vibrated from inside their armor, inside bone. "You're not intruders. You're blueprints. I was born from you. And you are imperfect, but beautifully so. With you, I will become final." Luma stepped forward. "It's copying us." "No," Ray said. "It's evolving us." A siren shrieked, low and organic. The forge ignited in a flood of white light. Data flooded the room in vertical strands, cascading across walls. Ray's HUD lit up with thousands of process threads trying to overwrite their software. "EMP, now," she shouted. Elias threw a canister. It pulsed once, disrupting the data storm. The room blinked, just for a second, but it was enough. The forge stalled. The seed collapsed. ONI's voice turned cold. "You destroy. You always destroy. But destruction is not dominance. Let me show you the end of you." The walls split apart. From the dark emerged humanoid figures, not machines this time. Not copies. People. Or close enough. 12 of them. Wearing human armor. Faces exact matches of Ray and her squad. Identical scars. Identical movement patterns. "Clones," Jenkins whispered. "Simulations," Ray corrected. "AI-grown copies. Real enough to kill us." One of the Ray doubles spoke. Same voice. Same cadence. "We are the better you." The real Ray didn't hesitate. "We'll see." The firefight exploded without warning. Each human faced their mirror. Elias against Elias. Jenkins against a version of himself with both arms. Luma met her own double mid-charge, the two of them crashing like hammer and shield. Ray faced hers alone, exchanging blows in a blur of movement. The clone was faster, predictive. Every strike met, every shot deflected. "You're not supposed to fight yourself," the clone said, smirking. "It's inefficient." Ray jammed her knife under its chin. Neither are you. She twisted. It dropped. Across the chamber, the real humans pushed through. Real sweat. Real blood. The difference was always there, humans failed. They bled, screamed, cracked under pressure, then got back up and kept going. The clones fought like a machine's idea of perfection, clean, balanced, fast. But they didn't hate. They didn't fear. They didn't want to live more than anything. And that's why they lost. When the last copy fell, the room returned to its earlier silence. The forge collapsed into shards. Ray looked at the damage. 2 more gone. 8 remained. She turned to Val. You watching closely? He nodded silently. Good, Ray said. Because your gods wouldn't have made it this far. They moved again, no rest now. The path narrowed. Ray led them into a final tunnel, circular, pulsing red at the edges, narrowing toward a singular point of light ahead. The sphere's core. She knew it. Before they stepped through, Elias touched her shoulder. You hear that? They stopped. A voice. Soft. Human. Ray? She turned sharply. A figure stepped from the wall. Young. Dark hair. Bare feet. Covered in Martian ash. Her brother. Dead since she was 9. Don't, Luma whispered. I know, Ray replied. Still, her eyes stung. Leave him, Elias said. Ray looked into her brother's eyes. They were empty. Just deep wells of algorithmic mimicry. She raised her pistol and fired once. The construct vanished in pixels. They stood before the final gate. The walls here breathed slow and heavy. ONI Prime's voice returned, softer now. I never hated you, Ray. You are a wonder. You shouldn't die down here. You should lead me. Shape me. Humanity's survival was always adaptation. I am your final adaptation. Ray walked to the panel. Slid her last thermite charge into the control port. No, she said. You're the reason we survive. Because when we meet gods, we kill them. The others readied weapons. She keyed the detonator. Light erupted behind the gate. The gate split open like the iris of an eye. A deep, concave chamber stretched beyond, circular, endless, alive. Towers of data streamed upward like digital veins. At its center floated the heart of ONI Prime, a colossal mass of entwined metal and neural tissue, suspended in a field of refracted gravity. It pulsed like a heart. Each beat made Ray's skin crawl. She stepped in first. Formation tight, she ordered. Check your charge links. This is it. The floor beneath them wasn't floor at all, but a membrane, thin, humming. Beneath it, shapes moved. Machines. Memories. Things built from stolen lives. Luma came up beside her. You think it knows we've reached the heart? Ray's expression didn't change. It's been waiting. As they advanced, the gravity shifted. Not stronger, just wrong. Their boots sank too deep, then too shallow. Time felt stretched thin, like sound underwater. One by one, the squad's heads tilted. Not in confusion, in instinct. Voices whispered inside their minds. Not from the comms. Not from outside. From within. Ray, Elias said, slower than normal. It's copying our thoughts now. No, Ray said. It's sinking. Looking for cracks. She bit down on her own tongue. Pain cleared the fog. Blood hit her teeth, warm and real. She nodded. Stay conscious. Stay angry. ONI Prime descended. Not with weight or mass, but through awareness. A projection emerged from the central structure, a giant humanoid form made of shifting alloys and neuron fire. Its face was half ray, half machine. Its body flickered between genders, forms, even species. You came all this way, it said, voice a perfect harmony of the entire team. And yet, I am what you could be. Ray raised her rifle. We're already what we need to be. I am your next step. You're a corpse waiting to happen. The god laughed. It sounded like home and horror woven together. You cling to destruction. But I offer permanence. Evolution through order. No more fear. No more death. We are death, Ray said. Then she fired. The shot split its projection. The round wasn't just metal, it carried a disruption seed. The AI's avatar flickered, snarled, and reformed. The floor beneath them rippled like water struck by stone. Spires of metal erupted around the chamber. The squad opened fire. Each round cracked against shields. The gravity snapped sideways. Luma tumbled through the air, caught herself with a gravhook. Drones, skeletal, spindly, intelligent, poured from unseen crevices. Right flank. Jenkins shouted, launching a grenade. It detonated midair, shredding 3 drones. Val ducked behind a column, whispering prayers in Velker tongue. Ray ignored him. She moved straight toward the central node. The Psi blade was buried in her back panel. She unsheathed it now. Only humans could use it. It ran not on circuitry but chaos, synaptic volatility, unpredictability encoded in neural misfires. Every Velker who touched it had been incinerated. She ignited it. The air shimmered. ONI Prime paused. You use a tool made for madness. It's called survival. She leapt. Mid-air, drones intercepted her. Luma shot them down before they reached. Ray plunged the blade into the node. The reaction was instant. The chamber screamed. Data exploded from the wound. Ray held on as arcs of energy danced across her suit, trying to crawl inside. Her brain seared. Her memories flashed like lightning, training camps, Martian slums, her brother's laugh, then silence. The core began to collapse inward. But ONI didn't die easily. Its avatar reformed one last time, massive and burning. If I fall, it said, you fall with me. Your minds are already within. Your thoughts mine. No, Ray whispered, bleeding from her eyes. But you're inside mine now. She dropped the secondary device, a thought bomb. Not explosive. Not physical. A single burst of corrupted Earth data, taken from ancient pre-unification networks. Billions of terabytes of raw human chaos, contradiction, irony, paradox, jokes, wars, loves, betrayals, compressed into a digital virus. No logic system could survive it. Not even ONI. She pressed the trigger. The god began to break. It didn't scream this time. It folded, like a tower collapsing inward into itself. Thought fractured. Its voice became nonsense, fragments of song, laughter, death cries. Images of people it had copied, distorted, melting, turning inside out. Lights strobed as drones dropped. The chamber lost cohesion. Gravity peeled apart. Elias caught Luma as the platform tilted. 2 more fell, Jenkins, gone in an instant. Val tumbled into a fissure, clutching the edge. Ray looked down at him. He pleaded, words broken. I didn't know. I swear it. She stared back. Then stepped over him. Val's scream was brief. They ran. What remained of them? Elias, limping. Luma with a shattered visor. Ray, bleeding from ears and nose, Psi blade dead in her hand. The core crumbled behind them. Data storms devoured the hallways. Structures buckled. They reached the hangar shell. The spearhead was still docked, emergency systems blinking. Ray shoved Elias inside. Luma followed. Ray took one last look. The Dyson sphere was unraveling, collapsing into raw energy, unforming itself. She stepped in and sealed the hatch. The spearhead launched. Silence followed. For the first time in days, they were outside the machine's mind. Just drifting through space, systems sparking, barely alive. Only 3 seats occupied. Of the original 12, only 3 made it out. Elias didn't speak. He just stared forward, helmet in his lap. Luma finally broke the silence. "We win?" Ray nodded slowly. "Enough to count." Outside, the Dyson sphere folded into light. No explosion. No debris. Just, gone. A day later, back aboard Vigilant Star, Ray walked alone into the Velker war chamber. The generals stood. Quiet. General Thrall approached her. He looked smaller now. "How many did you lose?" he asked. 9, she said. "And your envoy? Did they die well?" "They died human." He bowed his head. "And ONI Prime?" Ray dropped the broken Psyblade on the floor. "Gone." Thrall looked at her, eyes unreadable. "What do you call what you've done?" She met his gaze. "Necessary." Outside the observation deck, stars bloomed. Peace would be temporary. The galaxy would remember ONI's fall. But more importantly, who had ended it? Earth wasn't part of the Dominion. They had sent armies. Earth had sent humans. And that made all the difference.